What just happened, Chicago? Are we really sitting here after back-to-back wins talking about this team like they might be turning a corner? Because Sunday's game was one of those that makes you sit up and say, wait a minute, are the Bears actually figuring things out? They went into Vegas, battled through a rough start, and came out with a 25-24 win that felt gritty, tough, and just a little bit different from what we've seen in recent years. And yeah, we got to talk about Caleb Williams. The guy didn't light it up for 4 quarters, but when it mattered most, he stepped up. He's showing signs that he might really have that clutch gene. The numbers won't jump off the screen at you, especially early on. Max Crosby was all over the place in that first half, just wrecking the line and making life miserable for Caleb. And honestly, the offense looked out of rhythm. They couldn't run the ball. Pass protection was shaky. And it just felt like one of those games, the kind we've seen the Bears lose over and over again in the past. But then the second half happened. Caleb settled in. He got more accurate. He looked more comfortable. And then that final drive, that was what franchise quarterbacks are made of. He went 4 for 5 through the air, added a couple of gutsy scrambles for key yardage, and put the Bears in position to win the game. That drive was all about composure, confidence, and execution. And when your young quarterback is delivering in those situations, you start to feel like maybe the tide is turning. And this wasn't just about stats. Caleb said it himself after the game. Before that final drive, Ben Johnson looked at him and said, "These are the moments you're made for." And then Caleb walks into the huddle, stares his teammates down, and says, "This is the moment." That's leadership. That's command. That's a guy who believes, and who's getting others to believe too. Sure, it was just the Raiders, just like last week it was just the Cowboys. But this is the NFL. Every week is different. Every game is a test. And when you're a team that's been trying to rebuild, try to reestablish an identity, wins like this matter. Let's not forget, before Sunday, Matt Eberflus hadn't won a single road game on a Sunday as the Bears head coach. And to go out there in a game where a lot of things weren't going right and still find a way to win, that's huge. Think back to last season. How many times did we see Caleb put this team in a position to win, only for something to go sideways? A blown coverage, a blocked kick, a coaching decision that made no sense. The infamous Hail Mary disaster. The Thanksgiving collapse in Detroit. It's been one thing after another. But what he's always shown, and what's becoming more obvious, is that he doesn't shy away from the moment. He thrives in it. And now that he's playing better overall, that just amplifies the impact. He's got the tools, he's growing, and he's learning how to win. That's a dangerous combination. And let's be honest, the defense isn't always helping him. The run game definitely isn't helping him. But he's finding a way anyway. And that brings us to the bigger picture. Was this a culture-shifting win? Some people are saying it. Some are calling it premature. But let's be real, it felt different. Maybe it's not a full-blown culture shift yet, but it's the kind of win that can become a turning point. You're down late, the run game is non-existent, your defense is on its heels, and your quarterback still pulls you through. That's the kind of stuff that builds belief in a locker room. After the game, Ben Johnson didn't hold back. He said, "We're building something special here." And that belief, it's starting to feel real. Players are buying in. Coaches are getting the buy-in. Caleb said it best. This is all we got. This is all we need. When your QB starts talking like that and backing it up, it resonates. This wasn't a pretty win. This was a dig deep, find a way win. The Raiders were desperate. They played with urgency. And Ashton Gentry, he had the breakout game I was worried about all week. The dude was unstoppable, but the Bears still won. That's the kind of game where in previous seasons, we'd be sitting here talking about how the Bears should have won and found a way to lose. This time, they flipped the script. Now, I'm not saying the Raiders are world beaters. They're clearly still figuring things out themselves. But this wasn't a gimme. And to go on the road, survive a game where your run defense gets shredded, your offense can't get going early, and still pull it out, that matters. That builds confidence. And for once, Bears fans got to feel what it's like to steal a win instead of losing one they should have had. How good does that feel? And look, it's not all sunshine. Let's talk about the obvious concern, the run game. Or really, the lack of one. Offensively and defensively, the Bears have major issues here. It's not just that they're bad. They're really bad. On offense, they can't get anything going consistently. Caleb's legs are bailing them out more than they should. And on defense, it's been a revolving door of missed tackles and wide-open lanes. Gentry ran wild. Raheem Mostert chipped in with over 60 yards on just 4 carries. The Raiders averaged 7.7 yards per carry. The Bears? Just 2.7. That's a massive gap. That's the kind of imbalance that usually gets you beat, and often by a lot. The fact that Chicago came out on top in this one is a minor miracle and a testament to how important quarterback play is in today's NFL. But here's the thing. That kind of imbalance is not sustainable. If the Bears want to stay in a mix, if they want to go from fun story to legitimate contender, they've got to fix the run game. Whether that's getting more creative with play calling, finding the right backfield rotation, or even making a move before the deadline, something's got to change. There were some flashes on that final drive. Swift punched it in. Monangai had a few decent runs. Maybe that's something to build on. But right now, the backfield is inconsistent, and the line isn't doing them any favors. You can't put everything on Caleb's shoulders every week. That's how quarterbacks get broken. Now, when we're talking about stepping up, how about that secondary? Tariq Stevenson has been flying around out there, making plays in coverage and in the run game. He had a highlight reel interception on Sunday. Full extension, complete body control, secured the catch even as he hit the ground. That's the kind of athleticism and effort that sets a tone for the whole defense. And he's not doing it against scrubs. He handled George Pickens last week. Did a solid job against Jacoby Myers this week. That's back-to-back quality outings. Then there's Kevin Byard. I'll be honest, I thought he looked like he'd lost a step earlier this season. Not on Sunday. He was everywhere. 7 tackles, a huge fourth-quarter stop, 2 interceptions, one of which he completely baited Geno into. That was veteran IQ on full display. And it wasn't just the turnovers, it was the timing of them. Momentum killers. Game changers. That's what experienced players are supposed to bring, and Byard brought it in a big way. And that's what really jumps out about this Bears team over the last 2 weeks. It's not just that they're winning, it's that different guys are stepping up in big moments. It's not just Caleb. It's not just the stars. You're seeing depth players, guys that were question marks, guys that fans had doubts about, come in and make huge plays when it matters most. That's how you build something sustainable. That's how you turn a corner as a franchise. And let's not act like this all came out of nowhere. There were hints even in the losses. There were flashes of what this team could be. But it was always followed by a breakdown. One mistake here. One bad quarter there. But now it feels like they're learning how to close. How to respond. That mental toughness, we hadn't seen it. But it's starting to show. And there's still so much to clean up. The offensive line is still inconsistent. The penalties are still frustrating. There were multiple drives on Sunday that stalled out because of simple mistakes. Missed blocks, hold calls, bad reads. That stuff adds up. Against better teams, it'll cost you. So this is not some finished product. This is not a championship team. But they're learning how to win the games they used to give away. And that's where every rebuild starts to take shape. Let's be honest, we've been on the other side of these kinds of games way too many times. How many times in the past few years have we seen the Bears go into the fourth quarter with a lead or a real shot to win, only for the wheels to fall off? A mismanaged timeout, a missed field goal, a busted coverage. And here we are now watching Caleb take over with 2 minutes left, drive the field, and deliver the go-ahead score. And then to have Josh Blackwell slam the door shut, that's not just a win. That's an identity builder. You need those moments. You need those gut check drives. That's where belief comes from. That's where locker rooms start a bond. Players start looking at each other thinking, we've been through it. We came out on top. We can do it again. And that kind of energy is contagious. You feel it growing. And listen, we know what the national conversation sounds like. Everyone still thinks this is a team in transition. A roster that's a few years away. And maybe that's true on some level. But don't tell that to the guys in the locker room. Don't tell that to Caleb Williams. He's not out there playing like a guy who's waiting for year 3 to compete. He's out there acting like every possession matters because it does. And while the run game is a problem, let's not ignore the creative ways they're finding yards late in games. That final drive wasn't just about guts. It was well designed. There were some smart play calls mixed in with the improvisation. You're seeing the offensive staff adjust mid-game, something we didn't see much of last season. They're not just sticking with what's not working. They're shifting, they're adapting. And yes, Caleb is doing a lot of the heavy lifting with his arm and his legs, but the game plan is starting to reflect his strengths. That's coaching evolution. It's not perfect, but it's progress. And on defense, yeah, they're giving up chunks of yards on the ground. And that's got to be addressed. The front seven is struggling to hold gaps. Tackling angles are inconsistent. But the secondary? They're playing with fire. They're playing with confidence. Guys are flying to the ball. You can feel the energy shift. Tariq Stevenson is starting to play like a guy who's figured it out. He was flying around the field with that chip on his shoulder again, like he's got something to prove every down. And Kevin Byard, man, that veteran presence showed up in the biggest possible way. It's not often you see your safety bait a quarterback like that, especially one who's been in the league a while. But Byard read Geno like a book. He saw it before it happened and made a play that completely flipped momentum. That's what experience does for you. And then he followed it up with another pick. You could see it in his body language. He was fired up, and the rest of the defense feeds off that. There's also something to be said for the mental shift we're seeing from the coaching staff. They're trusting their players more. You're seeing it in the way they call games late. You're seeing it in the decisions they're making on 3rd and long, in crunch time situations, and how they manage the clock. Are there still things that could be cleaner? Of course. But this isn't the same sideline panic we saw so often last year. There's more composure now, more belief. And that belief is growing in the stands too. You can feel it. Bears fans are some of the most passionate, loyal fans in the league. But let's be honest, they've been tested. Year after year, heartbreak after heartbreak, they've shown up and stuck it out. And now they're finally getting rewarded with performances that don't just show promise, but actually turn into wins. That matters. That's how you rebuild trust between a team and its fan base. But let's be real. This thing is still fragile. The run defense has to get better. The running backs have to give you more. You can't expect Caleb to be a superhero every single week. That's just not realistic. You're going to face better teams, more complete rosters, more experienced coaching staffs, and the Bears will have to find new ways to win. They'll need to lean on guys like Swift, like DJ Moore, like Darnell, right up front, like Stevenson and Byard on the back end. That's what makes a full team. And look, you're going into the bye at 2-2. That's not perfect, but it's not nothing. It's a platform. It's a spot where you can look around the locker room, watch film, see the mistakes, correct the details, and then come out of the bye with even more fire. You got time to regroup, heal up, and tighten the screws. The schedule doesn't get easier. You know that. But if you've got a quarterback who's not afraid of the spotlight, a defense that's making timely plays, and a locker room that's starting to believe, that's the foundation. That's how you start to turn a losing culture into a winning one. And man, what a feeling it is to be on the right side of one of these games. No last-second collapse. No soul-crushing turnover. Just a gutsy final drive, a big-time defensive stop, and a locker room full of guys celebrating the kind of win that makes the hard weeks worth it. You don't get many games like that. So yeah, soak it in. Bear down. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In what could be the most shocking rumor of the NFL season, whispers around the league have reached a fever pitch after Caleb Williams reportedly announced he is leaving the Chicago Bears. Sources close to the team claim Williams, one of the most electrifying quarterbacks to enter the league in recent years, told teammates and staff, "I've reached my limit." Words that have set off a storm of speculation about his next move. Fans are still trying to process the news. Williams, known for his rocket arm and game-changing agility, has been a central figure for the Bears since his debut, carrying the weight of the franchise's hopes on his shoulders. His sudden announcement has left both the locker room and the fan base reeling. Social media exploded within minutes, with hashtags demanding clarity and speculation running wild about potential destinations. Could Williams be considering a return to college glory, a surprising trade, or even a completely unexpected retirement? No one seems to have a clear answer yet. Industry insiders suggest that tensions may have been building for months behind closed doors. While publicly the Bears have remained tight-lipped about internal dynamics, there have been murmurs of frustration regarding play calling, team strategy, and contract negotiations. Williams' cryptic declaration seems to confirm that these issues have reached a boiling point. Sources hint that this isn't a spur-of-the-moment decision. Williams allegedly spent the offseason weighing his options, speaking with close confidants, and analyzing where he can maximize both his potential and influence on a team. Rival franchises are reportedly already circling, seeing an opportunity to land a quarterback with rare talent. Teams known for aggressive moves in recent drafts could make a bold trade offer, sending shockwaves through the league. Meanwhile, Bears management is said to be scrambling behind the scenes, exploring every avenue to convince Williams to stay, from strategic overhauls to financial incentives. Yet, insiders claim the quarterback appears resolute. The NFL community is buzzing, with commentators predicting that this story could dominate headlines for weeks. If Williams does leave, the implications for the Bears and the league are monumental. One thing is certain: wherever Caleb Williams lands, the football world will be watching closely, knowing that a new chapter of drama and excitement is about to unfold. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.